Joyce, man,
Hey, hey,
I
hey.
I missed you in the first episode, and we had Max on and your flight schedule, and it took some time to and it was one of those things like, do I just do it myself?
Right,
And
right.
just to kick us off, but never again, my friend, never again. I missed you that first week.
Yeah, yeah, no, sorry I couldn't be there and I miss these. It's a cool episode. Cool episode.
I just,
But
I can't do that storytelling as you do at the end. So that's
well,
that's the
you know
hook
what it
for
is?
all our listeners.
It's like I was just listening to a comedian like Dana Carvey. I was just
Yeah,
listening to him and it reminded me that he doesn't want to go on the road unless he goes on the road with another comedian buddy because like the work of like being on your own and there and
yeah,
you just
yeah,
kind of you share the burden. So happy to be here, happy to be
yeah,
back.
yeah.
And
And
we're fresh off
yeah,
of JP Morgan.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, and we finished our 29-day trip in US, and you sounds like you've been there for a bit too, back and forth. So hence
Yeah,
the as we kind of both jumped on before hit the record the spectacles. I don't know. I usually wear them on the plane kind of thing, just to give my eyes a break.
very academic. I think our guests will appreciate the academic
We at
superiority.
least look smarter, but
Right.
anyway. Well, I'm excited to let our next guest in. So I'm gonna press admit here, and as Daniel is joining us, so I was kind of trying to remember what year was it that I met Daniel, and welcome to the shot. Welcome to the shot. As always, I'm reminiscing a little bit on, well, each one of us reminisce where we meet the guest first, and Daniel, I think it was somewhere around 2008-ish, 9-ish. So I still remember you were pitching DrChrono at this little meetup, Health 2.0 meetup in New York City,
Yep.
with baggy pants. That was the style at the time. I don't know. I'm making that shit up because I was wearing baggy pants, but um, but anyway. So welcome to the shot, and Jim. I don't think you guys have crossed paths.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no,
Dave.
I don't
Daniel.
think we have. I don't think we have.
Pleasure to meet you. This is my first kind of shot of digital health podcast of the year, and but it's the second one that Eugene's done.
Yeah,
So
I
so
had to leave Jim behind on the last one, but I just can't do it without him. Always better when we have the three of us here. Anyway, welcome to the shot. I know we've been sort of back and forth on it just over time, and finally we're here. But for our large audience of millions of listeners and viewers, why are you laughing? No. Tell us who Daniel is. You can go back all the way to childhood, where you grew up,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
or
thank you guys for
wherever
having
you
me
want.
on.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so I've been watching you guys actually build this channel, so it's really fun to be on.
Episode
I grew up in New
189, I
York.
think.
What's that?
No, Jim and I were looking at each other. I don't even know what episode it said, but it's approaching 200. So
Oh
200
wow.
episodes.
Wow,
Crazy.
that's crazy. That's a lot of
Yeah.
episodes. Congratulations.
But
That's
please continue, please.
Yeah, so I grew up in New York. That's I think how we met Eugene. I grew up outside like in Queens, so right outside like the metro area where we met. It's funny, I remember the room we actually met in. It was like a very small room that like was in this one office of this one company. And
Sounds about right. I think it was PR Newswire already though, but it was one of the
yes,
satellite small offices. Like, yeah.
yeah. That was one of the cool things they did is they actually gave us like they gave Health
Yeah.
2.0, which was big in
Yeah.
the time. They gave
Yeah.
office space to this like I'd call it like budding community. It was really vibrant, Health 2.0 back in 2008, 2007.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was crazy. It was just really coming together. I think Matthew Halt and then the other co-founder just really did a phenomenal job of
For
that. But
sure. For sure.
I for me it was actually one of the very first experiences like meeting a group of healthcare people in New York. So like I grew up in New York. My dad is he was an elevator mechanic of all things. So like when
Oh,
you're in
wow.
New York City, everybody needs an elevator, believe me, because
Yeah,
these
for
buildings
sure.
are,
Yep.
you know,
Well, everybody needs a plumber in New York City and elevator man or woman,
yes. Few things because
for
the
sure.
high rises are just so insane there. It's actually amazing. I was talking to someone today and they were showing me FaceTime of New York City, and some of these buildings are so thin, it looks like they're just going to topple over. I'm
Right.
like, man, the construction is just crazy that they're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
there. But
For sure.
I grew up there. My parents were both blue collar, and my dad, he'd go into the city every day. I kind of was figuring out what I wanted to do in life, and I think one, I'm kind of speeding through this. I can go into detail
Yeah.
if you want,
Well, we got
but
about 45 minutes, but
okay, okay. I'll go a
got
little
time.
Yeah,
deeper.
please.
I think for me, like when you're in that city, it's like, what do you do? For me, there were no really startups. Like honestly, I didn't see it growing up there. Like
Right.
it wasn't all around us. It was not really there. It was the bigger companies like uh PR Newswire or Bloomberg or
Hmm.
Citibank. All of these big infrastructure companies like just were everywhere, like the stock exchange. I didn't really see like startups, but I graduated from school,
And
went
where did
through
you go to school?
I went to Stony Brook University. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't
A little north, right?
it's on Long Island, so it's far out like on Long Island.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a really, really great school. Like I remember going there and thinking like, what am I going to do with my life here? Like looking at all of the
Hey,
different,
I'm still trying to figure it out.
right? We all are.
Honestly, that's what I tell my daughters all the time. It's like, there's no set, it's like the next day hasn't been here yet, right? We'll need to just figure out what we do when we grow up. But anyway.
Exactly. So like, I mean, even back then, it's you're trying to figure out what major you're going to pick. And I think for me, I noticed computer science was like just everybody was doing it and everybody was competing in this school. It was just insane. So I go into this class. I did a lot of different classes, like class on China, class on chemistry, biology. I might have, was taking courses to become a doctor. And then I go into this computer science class and 800 students. So these are big classes, 800
Yeah.
Right.
students in this class. And the teacher's like, I'm going to fail 80% of you. So just be prepared. And he was
It's
serious.
very
He
motivational.
wasn't even joking. And I'm like, oh man, this is like the real deal. He's like, this class is too big. We're going to have to weed the people out to see who can actually take these courses.
Right. Did he have a smile, like a devious look on his face as he said it?
Oh, I mean, he was really friendly. He was a super, he said it in a really friendly way. And, people just kind of just nodded and whatever. And it was like one of the most brutal, like, starts to like a class. And I love the competition in that class because it was like I just saw people quitting and crying and leaving and failing and like one after another. And then I got through
Was it
that.
actual coding or was it just like the
It was
overview of comp
coding,
sci?
it was theory, it was like all over the place. It was kind of like a very,
Math.
very, yeah, that was kind of everywhere. And
Yeah.
a lot of the students just never did computer science before. And I never did computer science before. But got through that class and realized, oh, wow, this is like a really good challenge, like a challenge for me. Because before then, I was an art major, I was a biology major, and I was going pre-med. And I'm
Okay.
like, this is a really unique class. I should just take few more of these and see like what this is like because I don't know. I felt like the world was moving in that direction. And also like
Which,
I just liked a challenge. Yeah.
which, by the way, just side note, a lot of engineers, coders, engineers, do have very artistic capabilities. So you comment on art, right? Or musical talents, etc., right? Just I think just how
Yeah,
the brain is wired. So
that's really true. Now that you're talking through it, I was also in a few bands, like I'm a musician.
let's
I don't
see,
know if
there you go.
there's a bass right
Right.
here. Uh
And
but
there's a dog on the other side,
oh
probably
yeah.
sings along with you.
Yeah. Two dogs, actually. They're right there.
Okay.
Crazy dogs. Funny story about the dogs. I'll tell you that later. But anyway, I graduated from school, and this is a healthcare podcast, so I'll kind of pull it
Yeah,
towards that
let's,
direction.
yeah.
But I graduated from school, and the only jobs I found that excited me were these obscure little jobs in New York City where there were like little groups of people getting together trying to do software. So I applied to Microsoft. It didn't feel right. It felt weird. I applied to Bloomberg. I went in there. Everybody was like running around. Like it was just bureaucracy, this feeling of like oversight and like structure. And then I would meet these like small ragtag teams in New York City, and they're just weird, eclectic groups of people. And then, there was this group of 12 people that I met, and they're like, we're going to do online learning, and it's going to be big. And this is 2007,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's
Yeah.
2005,
Probably a little earlier, right?
2005, give or
Yeah.
take. And, there was no, YouTube was just kind of a thing, not really. It wasn't an educational, like now you can learn everything on YouTube or on the MOOCs,
Yeah.
massive online courses. But I joined this small group of people. They had some funding, and a year goes by and they go bankrupt.
Okay.
So I go into another, I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? I
Un-
applied to a few more jobs. I mean, startups, right? Like
yeah,
startups.
exactly.
And I go into another startup, and fast forward, a year and a half, and they're gone, right? So that I out of school, I got one startup that just disappeared. I have another startup that just disappeared. Then it's give or take 2007, 2008. Everybody's getting laid off, right?
Right.
So I'm kind of
Yeah.
going through time a little fast.
Yeah.
So like my view of reality was like distorted
Right.
because like people are all losing their jobs,
Yeah.
and like these little startups couldn't survive. So I'm like, I need to figure out where I'm gonna fit in society
Right.
Wait,
And what was
because
I'm gonna do a drum roll. Why not start a startup?
they were not cool back then. I don't think it was out of
Yeah.
yeah.
I
It,
didn't read anything about startups. It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like there was all I knew was like I could code something, and
Yeah.
I run
oh,
into one of my friends, and my friend is like, "Hey, you could work with me." This is another friend,
is this
Yeah.
and he's
Michael
got this.
now?
No, this is another
No.
friend.
Okay. So this was before even. Okay. We're getting there.
Yeah, yeah. So my friend's like, "You could work with me. I know you're a good developer. I look at this big office I have," and he had like 70 people. I was like, "How did you pull this off?" And he graduated with me from school.
Right.
And he's like, I raised a lot of funding, and I'm like building something. And it was a really cool company. It was just cool. And I'm like, this is
What,
crazy.
what was
Like
the
it
name of the
was,
company?
I don't want to out him because he
Okay.
likes to
Okay.
keep it quiet.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
It was actually really
Fair.
famous investors. Like he had Jack Dorsey, he had one of
Okay.
the founders of Facebook.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know how he did. Like I was in awe.
Well, Daniel, and I will jump into the gross, but like, so what was the conversation like with your elevator mechanic dad as you were going through this career progression? Because he's
His
probably, I imagine mechanics are like union, kind of stable pension. What was he thinking?
he was kind of a my dad was kind of one of these people that just said, do whatever you want.
Okay.
And like because his father was so safe, he said he forced him to become this like
Yeah.
elevator mechanic and get this job in New York City because it's safe.
Right.
So my dad was very he just like was like, do whatever the heck you want. Like
Right.
if you want to be an artist, be an artist. If you want to like
Cool.
write music. If you want to do what I do, you can do what I do. But he just kind of didn't really push me too much. I
Yeah.
went to his job a few times, and
Right.
I saw what he did. And it was a very different life. Like he would work in the harder parts of New York City where like people were struggling and the elevators would always break down there. So like these are like the subsidized cost housing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So we would go, I'll just tell you a side story. Like I would go into these buildings, they'd be angry at my dad. There'd be like 100 people like waiting in the first floor. It was crazy. So we would walk in, he would like not look at them because they could get rowdy.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he actually could like the police would work with him
Right. Right.
when it was like nighttime because it would get really bad. Like
Yeah.
so he would go in, we went into the building, we would literally walk, I don't know, 60 stories up, whatever it was, right? Some of these buildings.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
was the hard part of the job. You literally the engines would break on these
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
elevators.
imagine the exercise that he got.
But it's
Yeah. Yeah, it
it's
kept
funny.
it.
It's funny. I went to University of New York at Fordham, and I used to do kind of some volunteer work in the Bronx. And the guy that kind of set up this kind of after school program for kids in really, really tough area of the Bronx was a elevator mechanic that had grown up in the area, but he had got injured on the job and he couldn't work in there. But he was this great big hulk of a man, but had been damaged and whatever it is. So I had this kind of, as you're talking about this, I'm imagining you in the
Yeah.
Bronx or whatever.
I mean, that's literally what it's that. And it was crazy because we'd go into the like just parts of the building no one would ever go into. So he would like get the key, he'd open it up, you'd see these huge engines. I saw the level of stress that I was under because I had no idea what he was doing. But because he knew what he was doing, he would pull out these tools. I have some of them still that are
Right.
just not normal tools. They're very strange. And he knew exactly the type of like equipment it was, and he would like start to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
Oh,
stuff to it. But it was a tough job because people are always angry at you for something that you didn't do.
Right,
and
right.
you're trying to help them ultimately. That's the
It
ironic part, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So it
yeah,
was a
yeah,
really,
Yeah, it's kind
really
of
like
like an emergency worker. Like it's a pretty noble, a noble job.
yeah,
yeah. So he would get them working and he would do crazy stuff. Like he'd open the doors when he
Yeah.
was going up and down, and we would just like, and he would be climbing up on the top. He was
Right.
doing crazy stuff like all over it. But there's some sad stories. Like he would tell me stories like he had to go into the city a lot because kids would climb. I shouldn't say this.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's just some dark stories that
fast
he had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
fast
yeah.
deal with.
forward. Yeah,
But this is, yeah.
we're all about light and positivity on the
Yeah, yeah.
shop in the
Sorry,
middle of the week.
I'm not good.
Let's yeah.
Okay, but this sounds like the ultimate tee up for your first business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, for me, like I had another friend in college. He's like, when you go into like the work my dad did, it's like very physically taxing on the body,
Hmm.
Right.
right? So it's like my friend had the foresight to think like, be careful like what you do because if you hurt yourself, like you're living with that. And I
Yep.
remember that, and I'm like, all right, music, art, computers, they all kind of like would dance around in my head. I thought about becoming a doctor.
Yep.
Something was not right there, so I just kind of just guided myself towards these computer science classes. But anyway, um, going back to where my friend, in New York City, and he had like funding and he was
Successful
building a really
company.
good successful startup. I said no to his offer, and I don't know why. And I probably should have said yes, but I walked away from that offer. It was the most money I've ever been offered. And I was like, I'm gonna try to figure it out on my own, and I'm gonna try to do something on my own. But in that process of all of that, those other startups, I saved about $50,000. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're a single guy in New York City and you can like figure it out, you can live off that for a long time. So I'm like, I have
So
fifty
20
thousand
years
dollars.
ago, right?
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna
it's
say
not a
20.
lot. It's not a lot, but I could calculate in my head if I had like rent and my rent
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
thousand dollars a month,
yeah.
I could live like 2 years, give or
Right.
take, very, very carefully on that. And I was like, should I put a down payment on something and get a job? Should I put it into Apple or should I just do this crazy idea and like blow all this money. And I, went with the route of like doing a crazy idea and, like just literally thinking like, okay, I'm going to build my own startup. And this is where it came to healthcare. That's why we're on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to do something in healthcare to help doctors do something. And that was kind of the broad premise. It was
Very
very, very
broad,
broad.
I
very
like it.
broad problem statement. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
And there were a couple of other startups like in the city. So like there was Frisia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frisia,
They're
they're
still
probably
public,
still
right?
there.
Yeah, they're still public. Yeah.
Yep.
They're
So
in public.
they were really cool. I met them, early on, but I
Yeah.
starting this company, I went into like Panera Bread, met my former co-founder of that company, DrChrono. But we met and we kind of brainstormed about the idea and like
Now, how did
we
you meet
both
Michael?
we went to school together. We went to
Okay.
school together.
So
So we
you kind of
were
were like, okay, let's do this together.
well, one thing is like if you're gonna start a startup, find people that are abnormally good at something, or they're like a really close friend. He was oddly both of those things. He was really good at software development, and he was a really close friend. So like for me, I knew he could code, and I'm like, all right, there's two developers. We could do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing we built was this like it was a calendar. It was an online Google. It was like Google Calendar. It wasn't Google Calendar. It was like Google Calendar for doctors to schedule patients. That
Okay.
was it. That was the whole product. Like we
And
built that.
that's Kronos now.
It's way more than that. Way more. Yeah. 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 It is DrChrono, but that was like the
Yeah.
first
Version.
piece of the
Okay.
puzzle
Stupid
of
question. How did
building.
you guys come up with the DrChrono as a name? Just out of curiosity. I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Because it was a calendar, chrono means time.
Time. Okay.
DrChrono, so
Okay.
chronology,
Okay.
time. So we were like,
And
let's
they have
make this.
limited time. I mean, you can probably exacerbate from there, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then we started building, iterating, and it was I'm not gonna lie, tough. Like it was hard to find people to use it, but then we found somebody. We found one user in New York City, one doctor, and he used it. Like he used it full time. Like
Okay.
that piece
But
didn't pay us.
how
Didn't
many
pay us.
no's did you get before you got the one doctor? Like, what was the journey to finding that one person that, believed in the two of you and saving his own time, of course, right? But
It was like 6 months of like development.
well, development, but on getting somebody to sign up. So I mean, as you're
It took
developing.
6 months. Took 6 months of
So
software. Like it was
as you
just
were
iterating,
developing it,
like
you were, yeah, got it.
because it needed to like mature. You're
So
right. So
did
like we
you and
were
Michael just knock on doctors' offices kind of thing? Just going
I
door to
would print
door?
out flyers. I'd
Okay.
walk
Yeah, I
around
mean,
the
listen, those
city.
were the days. Because this was
Yeah.
around the same time as ZocDoc too. I still
Yeah. Oh yeah.
remember, some of their stories on, just kind of getting out there and knocking on people's door.
They were
So
in New York City also. They were
yeah,
like
exactly.
they were hot back then. They were in TechCrunch. They were like huge.
Yeah. But just for people that aren't that, okay, we're kind of a pretty broad audience here. What was at the time, what was the Dr. Cronus solving for? What's
It
the
was
simple?
it was literally like for the staff of the doctor or the doctor themselves to see a list of all of their patients coming in
Okay.
online, like digitally online. Now, as sad as it sounds, everything was like CDs
Yeah.
or it was like local servers,
Hmm.
like just in New York City. So like everybody was either paper, they had all those folders on the walls, which they probably still have a lot of, right?
Yeah.
And then they had CDs and DVDs, like, and that was just the way it was in 2007, 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And we were doing it completely differently. We were saying we're going to do it online. They could access it anywhere. We're not going to ship a CD out or a DVD out.
Hmm.
Uh, and we went for the doctor. The sale was to the doctor.
Okay.
ZocDoc, the sale was to the consumer, leveraging the doctor. So it was a weird. They
Yeah,
were
well, they
different.
needed the adoption. It was a two-sided marketplace in a way, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
So
didn't want to. It was just I think
You were offering a service to a doc.
instinctively a two-sided marketplace is harder. In my head, it's just harder.
Definitely.
It's like a harder lift.
Yeah.
I'm like, if
Yeah.
you just give it to the doctor and they schedule it, it naturally like allows patients to see what DrChrono is, and then you can have like these
Yeah.
users using the product. But
Now, Daniel, at the same time, though, I mean, 2007, 8, I mean, you already had, the Epics and the Cerners and, eClinical Works, which had some scheduling already baked in. I mean, I don't remember if, but
yes.
um, so you were going against already pretty big companies, right? In a way. And
Well,
but your focus was kind of like, okay, let me do one thing and one thing better is the scheduling.
let me tell you my personal experience. I was
Yeah,
young,
please. Yeah.
I was healthier, and my primary care physician used all paper.
Right.
So I didn't know Epic existed. I didn't know Cerner existed.
Right.
Got it.
Sometimes being naive works to your advantage.
Right.
Yeah. When you're
My
not in that
doctor,
industry. Yeah.
I mean, I would go to my doctor. There was a time when I had an accident. My brother dropped a knife in my foot. Just happened at home, right? He's like accidentally did it, and
Happens to all.
Yeah, no
I
blame.
go to my doctor, and he's like, "I don't remember when you had a tetanus shot. I don't know." And I'm like, "Can you?
Right.
What do we do?" And he's like, "Let me look for your medical record." He finds it. There's literally nothing in the medical record. There's like just, one thing. It's like last time I was
You're
there,
bored. You're
and he's
bored.
like, "I'll just give you a tetanus shot." So he pulls it out and he just shoots me, and he just like he just jotted something that I think he would have just forgotten. Honestly, he was like a
Yeah.
great doctor, very friendly, but like just like
Right.
I don't think he was organized. I think he was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of going with the flow. Right?
Yeah.
He was a really great doctor. I loved the guy, but
Yeah. You weren't gonna rely on him for your taxes, but
exactly.
so then, okay. So you go from this. So you get this one doctor to adopt a system, right?
Yes,
And so
yes.
there now he's making a part of a practice. So what's the path? Like, how did you work with this guy? How did you go from one, and then where'd you go from there?
So there's this like saying in Silicon Valley, like get your users to love you. If you have like 10 users that love you, it's better than 1,000 users who hate you. So like I didn't know that at the time. I was like, let's check in with him.
Ignore the haters and the naysayers.
For me, it's like, let's check in with this person every day, every week. So like he would say, do this, refine this, do this. And he was using it actively for every patient, scheduling them in, okay, 8 p.m. I'm sorry, 8 a.m. you're coming into the office, 2 p.m. this patient's coming in. So we're getting all this feedback on this really nice light calendar. um, okay. Anyway, I'll fast forward a little bit. We start getting a couple more users. I think what really changed the game for us, I'm kind of fast forwarding, was the iPad was coming out. We heard the rumor that this iSlate, this iPad thing was coming out.
Right.
And what made this a unique time for us was we built a whole cloud infrastructure. A couple of the other doctors we got using it actually wanted medical records. So we built medical
Hmm.
records, we built practice management, and then we built medical billing all in the cloud.
Right.
And then this thing is coming out called the iPad. And it was a unique time because Apple released something called an SDK.
Yep.
Mm.
And the SDK is a software development kit, which allows you to get access to the software of some hardware from Apple before it's out. So they launched this SDK, and me and Michael decided we're going to build on this mobile device because it looks cool.
Right.
And
Right?
by the way, up until, because iPad, I just looked it up in the background. I don't know it all. 2010, you
Yes.
started this around 7, 8, right?
Yes.
So you guys been
2008.
bootstrapping. You guys been bootstrapping those couple of
Yes.
years off
And
of your
like
50K
20,
savings.
yeah,
Yep.
15K left of the
Yeah,
50.
yeah.
It was not a lot of money, I can tell you that. And I'm going to Leanne like until I burns out, and then I'll figure out what I'll do. I'm going to make this work though,
Y-
because this is my only
YOLO.
chance. I mean, it was like my only chance. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. My mindset was
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do? Go get another job and get laid off because they can't like make payroll. Like that was my experience. So I'm like, I might as well just go until the end with this thing because that's the way that the world works. Look at what happened in 2008. Like this is in my head. I'm like, I have to like
Yeah.
make this work for me. So I had a very irrational like mindset. uh anyway, we build the very first medical record on the iPad. Nobody else was doing it. Like
Hmm.
I remember
nobody.
that. And I think
Yeah.
that's
So
what you guys presented on the big Health 2.0 stage, from what I
yes.
remember. You hooked up the iPad and yeah, I remember that.
Yes, that's
I totally
exactly right.
remember
So
that.
like
Yeah.
what happened was we built all this stuff in the cloud and we built an API to talk to a mobile device that doctors actually wanted. So it was like right idea, right place, right time. And what happened was like the iPad comes out, Apple puts our app in the App Store immediately, and we went from like a few users to thousands of people wanting to use it overnight.
Awesome.
And it's like, but it took years to get to that point.
Right.
Like it took years, but it was just, I don't know when there's like you're pushing a boulder uphill,
Yeah.
and then there's this like inflection point where like you get to the top and it starts to roll downhill on its own.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
Amazing.
it's
yeah,
interesting because in 2010, again, I think the ACA was somewhere around there, right? And post the ACA is when a lot of this, individual doctor office consolidation really started. I mean, there was a managed care boom of that consolidation. So
see
because you were
what's
selling,
in your head, all
yeah,
this like you have a lot of thinking in your head. I didn't have
I
that.
I hear you. I'm just trying to like I hear
Yeah,
you totally.
yeah.
You were just winging it, but it's just interesting because I'm trying to lay the what your foundational kind of YOLO, right? You only live once, let's get
Well,
this doctor, whatever. But there was no, I'll say, strategy behind it, to your point, right? Like,
the strategy
or
was this: release often, take feedback from users,
yeah.
get revenue. That's it.
Okay, that's a good
Love it.
strategy.
But that is all
Love that.
it's like the idea in healthcare is just if you could release faster than anyone else, we were releasing faster than Epic. We were releasing
Right.
faster
Oh,
than
right
Cerner.
on.
We were running
Yeah,
circles around them, like
of
launching
course.
daily from feeds,
Yeah.
like feature,
Yeah.
feature, 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 feature. Do you think the doctors were looking at that when that was like millions of dollars? Like
Right.
Oh, for sure.
everyone was looking at us like, what is this? And
Yeah.
then on top of that, Cerner and Epic at the time, the iPad is everybody was giving it FUD, like fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They were saying like if you drop it, it breaks. If you touch
Right.
it, you're gonna get infected from patients. If you
Right.
it's not HIPAA compliant, the
Yeah. Yeah.
battery life isn't gonna work. It's like all they were just going on and on and
Me-
on about how this thing
Meanwhile,
is.
these doctors just wanted to take this iPad and take it
Yep,
home
yep.
and, contact the patients or whatever. And then so
Set up
you
their
sort
business.
of, and this a little bit goes back to kind of your strategy, which I love. And the timing, serendipity, other tech developments and kind of the bust before that, right? Like a couple of years back before from an economic bust, right? So,
Yes.
the,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. But I think like what made us successful is like the release cycles were
yeah.
so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Feedback
love that.
would be given, we would fix it that day.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Like
And
I don't know how it was just like amazing, like, and the doctors started to love it. Like they were just like,
Yeah. It's
what is
changing all the
this
time. It's a
device? And
whole
like
thing.
it's like
Yeah.
syncing to the
well, it was a
cloud.
pretty and from what I remember, even just a few years back, and to be frank, I haven't looked DrChrono, but it was a full featured platform, right?
Yeah.
And usable, take it on the go, and all that great stuff. And from 2008, when did you guys sell? What year did you
That
sell?
was
And to who?
2021. 2021. Yeah.
2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So take us to that
So
then. So
13
you built this
years.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
mean, for me, I didn't, I think this is like put out there now where like startups are built and then they have this magical exit. Like in my head, it was just, I need to build this because it's what I want to do. And I love healthcare and it's fun and it's exciting. And there's all these amazing people in this. And I'll have like a mission. Like part of life is like having this mission, right? Like we're
Right.
gonna like tackle this and like make this problem like fixable. Um, but anyway, years go by, like it felt like a very fast, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Did you guys take in any funding? Because I think you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
were doing something with Y Combinator, or you were part of Y Combinator at one point, right?
So yeah, when in 2000 when the iPad launched, investors in New York they were very conservative in healthcare. I don't know what it was. They just were like, you can't do this. This is an unsolvable problem. People have fixed it already. That was
Right.
the response I got from a lot of investors in New York City.
Right.
And then my co-founder would read these articles from this guy, Paul Graham, online. He would have all these articles, this guy, Paul Graham in California. And then I would say one of my traits is like, I'll just go get that person. Let's go talk to them. Anyway, I email him, the team from Y Combinator, and they were small in 2010. They weren't
Sure.
big.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're doing something game changing. We would love to talk to you, see if we're a fit. And they responded back, we're busy. We don't really travel,
Yeah.
and we're out in California. And I'm like, I respond back, is there anyone in New York City that we could talk to? And they mentioned the founder of Reddit is doing a tour in the area, like trying to get startups. And I'm like, well, we're in this really cool like space with a few other startups. We would love to have him come by. Founder of Reddit comes in, looks at what we're doing.
There were
And
a bunch of
honestly,
them.
like
Is that Alexis? Because I know Alexis
Alexis.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So Alexis came
He
by
does
and
it.
like he couldn't, I could tell he couldn't believe what he saw. He saw two guys that had no funding with like a lot of users and like doing something nobody was doing, like the big guys are not doing it. He's
Right.
like, all right, we would like you to come to California. And I go to California. I fly to this event. They used to have this thing called Startup School. I never saw anything like it in my life. Like it
Okay.
changed my mindset immediately. I was like, there are literally like 1,000 people at this event. They had heavy hitters like Mark Zuckerberg was on stage with
Yeah.
Paul Graham. And I'm like, there are more people like me out there than I realized
Right.
that are
Yeah.
just doing this strange thing. Cause like people in New York didn't really get it. They were like, oh, so you don't have a job. Here,
Right.
nobody had a
Cool.
job. Right? Like,
Right. Right.
but I go to this event and then
And by
like,
the way, Jim, Daniel is a transplant. He's now a West Coast person.
yeah, I
Got it.
Just
moved over.
FYI. Yeah.
I mean, I love New York still. Still love it there. But
So are you in the
anyway,
Bay Area? You're in the Bay Area now still.
yeah, I'm in the Bay Area. But where was I? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So
Paul Graham doing cool
Oh yeah.
stuff. Nobody had a job.
yeah, you're in Y Combinator.
So I go to this. We go to this like. They used to just have a line. It was kind of crazy. This is the first time I'm actually telling anyone this like publicly. So YC would bring you to their office in Mountain View. They would just have a line of founders, right? And these
Yeah.
founders would come in one by one, almost like Shark Tank.
Right.
And it wasn't like Shark Tank because I feel like you were almost like on a panel of judges. Like you'd walk in and all of the partners of YC would just be sitting at this, like, there's like 10 of them, 6, 7, 8 of them.
Right.
And they would just barrage you with questions.
With
So Paul
questions.
Graham was asking a question, then another investor, and then another investor. And these are like people I didn't realize how powerful they were. Like one of them was the founder of Gmail, Paul Buchheit.
Right. Right.
Created Gmail, trying to think. It was just a lot of very successful people in that room. Founder of a few other companies. But anyway, they're barraging me. And
Yeah.
we walk out, and I'm like, we screwed that up. Just like
Right.
every other investor, we screwed up. Let's just fly home and we'll keep doing our thing. Like that, literally what I was thinking. And they told me they would call us, back and give us an answer, which is really nice. So like we go to our And then Paul Graham, the founder of Y Combinator, calls us and he says, "Hey, we really like what you're doing. Make a decision now. Are you in it or are you out? That way we could,
Go to
Amazing.
yeah."
So
And I trusted.
they were the first check-in,
Yeah, that was the
aside
first.
from, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first check-in, and it was not all, back then they didn't. So it was a different time. I called it the true believer time because it was not the money they give now. They
right.
gave you enough for 3 months of rent.
Right.
Right.
That was just the way they did it because they didn't have the funding. They didn't have
Yeah.
the huge exits. They were just like giving you a
Yeah.
little bit just to get out to California and then to stay there for 3 months.
Got it. Got
Do
it.
their
Yeah.
program. So I'm like, yes, we're going to do it. My co-founder was all in and we fly out. I think it like energized me and my co-founder, and then we also had the whole team fly out. They all were like wanted to do it, so we had a few people working with
I was
us.
gonna ask, right? Because you guys are bootstrapping this, so
Yeah,
but you already had some revenues coming in because you've had
yeah,
a bunch of users. Okay.
yeah. So, but for me, the first investor come to California, it was just a different vibe. I don't know how to explain it. Like I was, they had their demo day. It was very different. Demo day is like a day when all the investors come in. They all
Yeah.
like sit in a room, and there were really famous, powerful people at demo day, like millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars of people, money. But it wasn't big. It was like, I don't know, 100 investors, maybe
Right.
100, yeah, about 100 investors like just sat in front of us and we would pitch to them. And I just remember like, someone ran up to us and said, I'll, write you a check.
Right.
And it
Right.
was for like $50,000.
Right.
And I was like,
And you're
that's a
like,
lot of money.
I can live on this for like, 2 years.
Right.
Yes, you're laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like,
Yeah.
what is this place? This
Yeah.
doesn't happen in New York. Like,
Right.
what is happening right now? Anyway, we get a few investors into our company, and we kind of hunker down in California for those 3 months because they ask you to. They're like, stay here, and they put you through like a boot camp where they really bring in rock heavy hitters. Like the founder of Lotus Notes was in our batch giving a talk. The founder of
Right.
Salesforce, Mark Benioff, gave a talk. Just like rock star founder after rock star founder. And I would just get like reinvigorated every week. And it's, I think it changed our mindset to just keep iterating faster. And it was a really great experience. We went through YC, and then I kind of just, what they do is they kind of like let you do your build your
Yeah.
company, but I never left it. It's like almost like a university where like you can go back and ask for advice. Like even now I can book office hours. I call
Amazing.
it office hours.
So once you're part of the family, you're always part of the family kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that
Yeah.
is part of the secret sauce where they built a lot of infrastructure, and it's all online where like you could connect with people, and then there's a lot of events. Like they do, I don't
And,
know,
Right.
10 events a
and Daniel,
year. Yeah.
I know we want to get to what you do now. And so the curious part for me is, are they on your cap table for JustPaid as well? Just
Yeah. So
okay.
like I sold, I sold DrChrono 2021. It was a great exit, awesome buyer, a
Yeah.
large
Great.
public company called EverCommerce.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Was
How
that
did you
my
come to that decision? Was that an inbound, or were you and Michael were kind of like, okay, this is now, approaching 15 years of our life. We built this great company. Like, what was the decision point for you guys to sell?
I think it was honestly the people that were buying it. Like they were just good people, and I felt
But
like
they knocked on your door,
it was a
or you just met them through. Like, just always
I
curious.
met I met him in a random place. Like sometimes these random meetings like just
Serendipity.
they
Yeah.
work out. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they just work out, and it just like a team. I would say if it wasn't them, I don't think we would have sold it. Like because they were so like awesome to work with. I
Yeah.
think that that's what made this a really great experience for me. So like I think that they understand startups. They understood us. They understood like what they were buying. The founder runs their company still. So EverCommerce is run by the
Yeah.
founder. So he like gets it. He built his own empire and
Right.
it's really successful and it's really like there's a lot happening there. So he saw the same dynamics in our energy in our company.
Great.
So
Awesome.
that's what really like took us there.
So you
Anyway, yeah.
so you stuck around obviously for a bit,
Yep.
just when you sold, and then you decided no more healthcare because
For me,
you're
you know,
or never
I
say
love
never.
no, I love healthcare. I think it's a great industry and I would do it again. I mean, it's just I think it's the founders that you have to figure out the assets you have, like to build what you're going to build, right? So like for me, I felt like the payment space is a very challenging space, right? I think this is just, I don't know, a glutton for pain. It's like I
Okay.
like to go into places where there's a lot of competitors and there's a lot of blood on blood in the water, and I'm like, let me go in this area that like I feel like there's could use something.
Right.
Um,
So you've launched a new company. So you've got that's right.
yeah, I launched
Just paid.
JustPaid, which is essentially a modernizing way to do payments for businesses. So think
Okay.
of AI is doing so much in like the broad strokes.
Yep.
Like, can we take a lot of the technology that's built and apply it into payments? And what does that mean? It's like I gave a demo last week to like this real estate group. They have thousands of units and they're struggling like actually figuring out how to take the payments like on
Right.
their end, right? So I'm like, you can use AI, you can use our product, and it will literally know what's due when, and you don't have to hire like a large group of people because really finance is all people driven. It's just there's a
Sure.
lot of distrust of technology. It's a lot of
Hmm.
like legacy software that people just have that make it's trusted, but you hire people, you build your finance team, you guys are running, you hire an accountant, they look at
Yep.
all of it in a piece of software. In the future, I think things are going to flip where you're going to know what's happening in your company every minute,
Right.
right? You're going to
Right.
know right now,
Yeah.
like even public companies, they have to have like the books closing, right? It's just
Right.
this is the quarter, this is the month, this is where
Right.
we're at.
Yeah. Like
Imagine
10
burning
days.
millions
Yeah.
in
10
healthcare.
days after the month, after the biggest, most sophisticated organizations in the world take 2 weeks to close their books in a month, or
Right.
Imagine if the founder knew that he was going to go bankrupt in 5 months, like, and the AI was just warning him, like, what you're doing isn't,
you're like,
you
fuck
know,
off. I'm
just
gonna
you shouldn't be hiring 70 people, right? You shouldn't be hiring 70 people because you raised all this funding. You should do this. Like in the future, I
Yeah.
think that you'll have, whether you listen to it or not, you'll have some more guide rails as a person to like make decisions. And
Yeah.
I saw
Information.
so many companies go bankrupt in healthcare.
Right.
What'd they
A
do
lot of it's
wrong?
information. A lot of it's information. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And
That
are
makes
you
sense.
once again targeting kind of that SMB market and growing companies, or is this, enterprise ready stuff as well?
I
Large
mean, for me,
enterprises.
I always move from smaller to larger. Like, I think that's the way startups should work is, in healthcare, this healthcare podcast, like when people tell me they're going straight to sell to like the large healthcare organizations,
Right.
I'm like, you can do that, but just be prepared for like a 2-year sales cycle.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem with that is like you're gonna build something they may not even want because they're not using it. So I'm like, if you
Right.
start smaller and like build out
Yeah.
like with a
Right.
smaller user base, you'll
What was the location
out.
of that first doctor that you got? What part of the New York City was he living in?
It's hard to remember. I can look them up.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well,
But
you'll just
there's
comment on our LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
You'll
Awesome.
get back to us on it. Wow, time flies, man. I think, I mean, there were so many lessons learned in at least, the 13,
Amazing.
14 years of DrChrono and just building it. And then you're at it again. So kudos to you and the whole team. And let's get to Jim's last famous question.
Yeah. So Daniel, if you're ready for it, so
sure.
you're heading to you're going to check in at Y Combinator, your new company's grooving, you're back in and Paul Graham comes walking up to you and saying, Jesus, Daniel, I just got this note in from someone I happen to know that's connected to Stony Brook Community College. and they're about to do a massive, building health technology and payment technology conference, and I thought you'd be the perfect speaker for it. So, and actually, the person organizing the conference is a famous uh, teacher there who historically fails 80% of their class every year. And she actually, or she or he actually knows you and wants you to keynote this lecture. So you're like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. So you take the red eye, you head back to New York to give this addressment, and you're up on stage and you're giving a talk about, and the name of the conference is going from small to big. And you're talking about, hey, how do you build startups? And you're bringing it through, and you start to weave in, art and music and computer science, and everyone just loves to talk, and people are inspired by it. And you can see New York City has just changed. It's gone from being kind of a man's land for startups to being this hot system. And anyways, as you're giving this talk, you're looking back and you see this striking, thoughtful person paying attention about 3 rows back in, and he's looking at you, and just as you come off stage and everyone's trying to talk to you, he beelines towards you and says, Daniel, I have to speak to you. I have to speak. You don't understand. I grew up in Queens. I was a computer science major. I came out of a band. My father is a union mechanic, and I used to go in with weird looking tools and fix elevators inside dodgy neighborhoods out there outside New York City. And he's giving you this talk, and he goes, and I'm just about to step in with this fantastic guy that I attended school with, that's a great friend and a computer science major, and we're about to build our first health technology company. What's the one piece of advice you would give that younger version of yourself?
I mean, this is kind of cliche, but I would just say just do it. Don't think too much. I think just do it and just like start executing on it and be persistent and just don't stop because people will tell you to stop. I can tell you that how many times people would be like, "What are you doing? Wasting your time." Like
Just keep going. Love it.
countless times. Like that would happen hundreds of times and I was just like, "No, you're not where I want to be." Like that's what I just would always think like they're not
Yeah,
where I want to be, right? So like you just
just
got to
do it.
take your own path as a person and I think that's important to like remember. Don't you can listen to your parents, but don't listen to them totally. I don't know if Eugene, you'd be where you are if you listen to your parents completely. You might be still where they are,
I
like
mean,
right.
listen, I had to either be a lawyer, doctor, or an accountant, right? So, and I'm none of those.
Got it. Okay, so it's try, follow your own path. Like don't listen to
Yeah.
everybody because they're not you.
Awesome.
You have to really follow yourself. So
Love it.
Just do it. Love it.
awesome.
Daniel, it was awesome to finally have you on. And to all of our listeners and viewers, hit subscribe and see you next week.
Good
Awesome.
luck.
Thanks, guys.